Van Solo, or welcome back to Van Solo. Today we have Tech Talk with Lori again, and we're so excited to have her back. It's been a couple of weeks, and she's been moving from Arizona to Texas, and so we haven't been able to get her on here, but we're so glad that she's back. So welcome, and tell us what you're going to talk about today, Lori.
Well, thank you. It's been a busy 2 weeks. Really, I'm going to talk about, I got here a week ago today, and I got to tell you, I know we've talked about this in the past, but how important a surge protector is. Because I have been busy repairing electrical, replacing refrigerators, converters. People are neglecting to take care of their investment because you can buy an inverter for a few $1,000s, or you can get a surge protector for a couple $100s. So
I'll put a picture of a surge protector on here, but can you tell them what a surge protector is?
well, the surge protector runs from your power pole that's at the RV park, in which we all know that they're not always 100%. So what that does is it keeps you from having maybe a ground fault wire. Sometimes the wires get, like, the legs are, when I talk about legs, you got a 30 amp and a 50 amp. Sometimes those legs, as they say, whenever you're plugging it in, might be reversed. So what that does is it protects as any, you get a power surge from the pole, it protects, it'll fault out just like it does in your house, right? If you have a surge protector on your TV or anything like that. So surge protector there is just going to be something that's going to protect your camper from surging, catching on fire, which I shared pictures with you. So
we'll post those also.
Issue. Yeah.
Yeah, that was an amazing. Do you want to tell about this fire? That I'm actually, the picture will be up right now, and you can tell them about what that actually is and what happened.
Yeah, so I was called in to do an inspection for somebody. Their neighbor had plugged in to the RV park's power, and they did not have a surge protector, and they had a surge in that camper, and so that camper started on fire, and that one not only got that one on fire, but 4 others in the park. And thank goodness the family that I was going over to inspect their new RV, because they were really nervous about the electrical and things like that. They had their dog in there, and thank God the neighbors came over, and or the dog would have died in there.
Oh my
So
God.
you got to keep in mind that when you put a surge protector on, in these parks, we can reach out and touch our neighbors sometimes. So your actions also affect the people around you. So, you want to make sure you're extra safe, because I don't know about you, Danny, but like just being here, I don't know what would happen. I mean, I travel with 4 animals, and I think a lot of people do travel. I mean, do you have pets that you traveled with?
Oh yeah, at one point I had 7 cats, and 1 dog, and then I had a bunch of, I was fostering and feral, So when I first went on the road, I had 7 cats and a dog, and over the years I winnowed it down to just the dog. But yeah, I'd be heartbroken if any of my animals got in a fire or overheated, or any of the things that can happen to them when you leave in the RV and you are not there. Yeah,
exactly. I travel 2 dogs, 2 cats, but so besides the fire, go ahead.
They also have those monitors now that you can leave in your rig, and it attaches to your phone, and it tells you the temperature, and also you can watch a video of your dog all day. You can check in. It's like a baby monitor, or cat or whatever, but and you can make sure that they're okay. If there's any problem, then you immediately know and can get back there. And I don't think I'd travel without one anymore. I think that's,
But
I was always afraid and nervous. So,
yeah, that's my worst fear. I know a lot of people use WAG, I think it is, but I have a couple of Ring cameras. So I have one on the outside and then one on the inside. And whenever I'm gone, I'm constantly checking those. I got the sensors on. So if they're up walking around or doing anything or barking. So yeah. So, I think right now, safety is a big deal, whether it's a surge protector or your monitors for your pets
right.
or anything like that. Because I don't
Yes,
know, I'd be
people talk a
devastated.
lot about outside, being afraid of outside things happening to them. And the most disasters or problems I've seen are from the people themselves not taking care of business, making sure that
Yes.
everything works, and they have got their surge protectors, and they've got their carbon monoxides, and they've got their, all those things are up to date, and their fire extinguisher works and all that. It's just things you forget about doing.
In the fire extinguishers too, if you really think about it, the size of a fire extinguisher that comes in an RV, I mean, it's rated to be big enough, but they're so small. I mean, they're about this
Yeah,
big, and it's like that's not going to stop anything because that fire, these things can burn up in a matter of minutes, especially since you got propane and all that. And so, and most of us carry, a lot of you know, cooking oils and things like that. So, it goes up so much quicker. So you got so much fuel to add to it. I also carry one of those fire blankets that's next to,
that's
that
a
you can
good
put right
thing.
over it because that will smother it too. Like you were talking about in one of our episodes about how your candle started on fire,
Yeah,
you know?
I think that's the episode that got messed up. But
Oh,
yeah, I can
okay.
tell that story. I put a candle, and I think it was on something, on a little candle holder in the bathroom. And I don't know whether I knocked it over or whether it melted down. But anyway, it tipped into the sink. And the sinks are made of that plastic material in the bathrooms.
Hmm.
Not all of them are porcelain or whatever. And that went up like that. And a blanket wouldn't have helped because it melted so fast that the fire went down underneath in the cabinet and out through the side of the rig and up the wall. Within seconds, that entire bathroom was in flames. It was the scariest thing I'd ever seen. I didn't know anything could be so flammable. It was like they were made out of gasoline. I mean, it
Hmm.
just was really bad. And it ended up melting all the pipes underneath, taking out my whole sink area, 2 walls, the ceiling. It didn't hit the toilet area, but it did do all of that damage, and it went clear to the outside on one side, but it didn't burn all the way through. So you couldn't tell it from the outside, but it was all burnt up the side on it if you look. And then I realized after you look down there, you look down the sink, and here's the sink stuff. And after it's burned through, there's the wall. And there's nothing in between. There was no insulation. There was no extra
No.
wall. There's nothing. It's just empty space and just perfect for oxygen to come up and make that fire go. So yeah, that
I
was a
think we
scary
forget.
thing.
I think we forget though that these RVs, they're not made like your homes. So you don't have that extra, firewall going up for you. You don't have, you know, uh, the insulation that's not flammable or anything like that. You think about it, you're just a couple pieces of fiberglass, you're pressed down there with some styrofoam, and you know, you might have aluminum or you might have wood studs, or so we got to remember that too. And another thing, people, um, we've been working on here. I mean, I've only been here a week. My people that I team up with, the other RV service monkeys, Frank and Bess, they've been here since November, and they've seen so much on these power surges, but also people not putting taking care of your water systems. and a pressure regulator. You can go get a pressure regulator anywhere from $10 up to 60 or more, but something is better than nothing, guys. I mean, if you can't afford the most expensive, you still need to, you can afford $10 before you can afford paying somebody to have to come out and do repairs, or say you lose your home, because water damage, that's just as bad as fire sometimes, because, then you get, like here in the high humidity of Texas, you're going to get water damage, and think about the mold and all that you might not be able to stay into. So a
I
lot
never
of
thought
it's just
about mold.
yeah, you got it. Yeah, we got to think about that. So a lot of the things that we're doing here is it's just, I don't want to say common sense, because some and I'm not trying to sound like that, but it is common sense. We talk about it, when you buy your RV, they tell you, get your surge protectors, get your pressure regulators, those kind of things. Other things that people aren't that we've had to deal with is blowouts. Make sure you're checking your tires. Tire inflation is so important, whether you're over or under. Make sure when you stop for gas, check your tires. It takes 5 minutes. But just,
Yeah, I did a whole video on tires. We'll link it at the end or down below in the description. But yeah, it's so important to take care. That's the number one thing. If you don't have tires, you don't have an RV.
you don't, just like a good pair of shoes. That's like
Yeah,
that. My father always said, he'd stand on his feet all day because he was a barber. He said, if you don't invest in your feet, you're not going to get very far. And it's
yeah,
just like the tires. But I mean, I'm looking, one of the people I'm working on right now is just like, they got lucky, but underinflated tires, just you can tell by your tread wear. Look at your department, your DOT stamp. Some people say 5 years, some people say 6 years. That's the max that, anybody I would recommend, as a standard.
well, and people buy one. You buy one, it's a used one. The tires look perfect on it, and you think, oh, you don't even check the date. Oh, those are new tires. Those are, boy, what nice tires. Well, those could be 5 years old. And all they did was go back and forth to the campground 5 miles away. And,
Mhm.
they're still rotting. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are. Well, I was in Idaho, and I paid for somebody before we left Arizona. We were traveling, and I had them check my tires. I had them check everything. And well, he didn't check the date. I didn't get to Idaho. Well, actually, I was leaving Oregon. Sorry, on my way to Colorado. And we got to Idaho. And I don't know if anybody's ever traveled with their RV in Idaho, but their posted speed limit is 80 miles an hour. And we
Oh,
know
it's
people do
terrible.
not drive 80 miles an hour. I don't go any faster than 65 miles an hour when I'm pulling my rig, because, even though your tires are rated for it, I just feel that's my safety. People can do, that's just what I recommend. But, that's scary, and when we had our blowout, you have to think about it. You get on that side of the road, those truck drivers, other people, they're not slowing down for you. I called the non-emergency number because I was like, it takes a lot to, get me unnerved, but I had my whole family right there in the front of the truck. If you think about it, my spouse and I and my pets, I could care less about my RV, but I was so scared that something was going to happen to them if somebody came up behind me. So make
Yeah.
sure the things we're talking about today is kind of safety and the things that can happen. It's not like I'm trying to scare people. It's just, this is a great way to live life. If you're full-time RVing, or if you just want to get out and have fun, or for a weekend or something, it doesn't matter. You got to do your basics, you get your surge protectors, your water, your water regulators, check your tires, make sure your propane regulators are good. You want to, whenever you change out your propane, people, how often did you ever, Danny, when you change out your propane, did you get some of that gas leak, and check that?
Oh, well, I did because I was paranoid about it. That
Okay.
was something that was really important to me. but I know it's not done all the time. I always, well, I didn't. I bought a couple of new rigs, but I always had older rigs too, so I was always doubly paranoid about that. And I always smelled gas. It's like the most time you can smell is around your burners and things. So I was always up in and around those, squirting that soapy water in there to make sure that there weren't any leaks. But I think it's pretty common that you get a smell around your propane burners a
You
little
do.
bit.
I just always make sure you check your hoses on your propane tanks. We always talk about these other, like, check your tires, check your seals, around your sides, but we don't talk about checking your because those can rot too. Your hoses to your propane, your regulators go out. So those should be included in part of your monthly maintenance. Especially if you're full time, or that should be part of your maintenance before you go out on any trip, is to check those and make sure. And make sure you check your dates on your tanks. They have to be re-inspected too, and make sure they're not rusted. There's a lot of things that can be prevented if we just take the time, or if we don't know about it, because you don't know what you don't know, right?
That's
But
true.
some of these safety things, um, you know, just make a note. I mean, we'll go through some of these sometimes, or I can make a little PDF for us that we can share with the viewers and we can download. But I think, to me, after this week, and just seeing how safety issues, and seeing that fire, and having a blowout, anytime I make it, we traveled from Arizona to Texas, and anytime I make it to a destination, it's like I feel so blessed, because
Yeah.
we got from A to B, you know, and but every time I stop for gas, I make a walk around my rig. I check it 3 or 4 times.
On top of that, on the forums, a lot of the forums lately, I've been seeing people, and I was talking about that with the RV salesperson today that I was talking to, because I was looking at different sizes and things of rigs, but it's getting a vehicle that fits your towable.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that a certain company who is very big in Quartzsite, and I cannot say the name or I get sued.
We'll bleep it out.
It starts with a G. Anyway, they sold this guy and had it all hooked up to a 34-foot trailer hooked to a Jeep, because that's what the guy wanted. And instead of saying, oh no, the weight, this wheelbase, that's not going to work, they just said, nope, sure, we'll sell it to you. We'll hook it to your Jeep. They hooked it. They gave him the sway bars and hooked him up, and he was on his way pulling out of that lot with a 34-foot trailer. And that Jeep wasn't rated for something that big.
And people got to remember too, yeah, it might pull it, but you know what? Is it going to stop? Are you
Yeah.
going to be able to stop in time, that you're not going to, somebody dashes out in front of you? Because, one of the things that really bothers me is, if you're pulling in heavy traffic, and somebody dashes out over in front of you, you're not going to be able, if it's not rated to pull that or stop, you know, safety. And then, people, you need to know, get your owner's manual out, do your homework, just because you want something, well, make sure you're right. Get the right kind of tow vehicle.
Or just because the salesperson has assured you that, yes, you can buy this more expensive trailer and it will work on your rig. No.
Yes.
Yeah. And I do continue to try to educate people on these forums. They don't want to hear it because, of course, they've already bought it and they're in love with it. But there are a lot of people also that back me up and say, hey, I had an SUV that I pulled this trailer with, and I had an accident, or it fishtailed, or I had a problem coming downhill. And a lot of it is, if you have something that's, yes, it can pull it, like you were saying. If you're on the flat, if you live in Nebraska and you're only going to go 5 miles to the campground, down the road and back, and that's all you're going to use it, you could probably get away with that. But if you're going to take it anywhere west of the Mississippi, up those hills, up those Colorado, or any in the Rocky Mountains, that just won't do. Somebody said, well, I only go 40 uphill. Well, if you only go 40 uphill, you better only be going 40 downhill. And still, it's not safe.
Yeah.
Just
People don't think about it. They don't
they
think
don't
about
know,
it.
and people bamboozle them, and when you try to say that is not a safe situation you have there, then they get all really upset. So try to be
they make
gentle.
those runaway, like up in the mountains for the semi trucks. It's not just for the semi trucks. You got those little runaway vehicles for a purpose, and you don't think about it when you're, driving, pulling your RV or driving a Class A or whatever, because even with a Class A, if you got a towed vehicle, or you got too much weight, I mean, you got to pay attention to what your manufacturer says is a safe weight, and all that. I mean, we could get into so much about this, and you're right. There's a lot of people that think, well, I've gotten away with it this many years, so don't tell me. Well, that's fine, but if you get into an accident, God forbid, you kill somebody or hurt somebody, you're liable. And you got to think about it. We get into this is fun. This is supposed to be recreational vehicles, and and have fun and share the roadway. Just common sense, common courtesy, and safety. It's all about getting to the journey and getting to the destination there. So safety.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that pull Jeeps. They have Jeeps that they're pulling trailers with, and they have these new Jeeps that look like pickups, and they say, well, they're all beefed up for towing and stuff. They're all beefed up for towing an R-Pod or a teardrop. They're not beefed up for pulling a 30-foot trailer. Maybe you got a boat, a little boat that you pull on a trailer. That's what those are made for. They're not.
Look, I had a Jeep and I pulled my my jet ski. That's about all I could do. I had a 3-seater jet ski. Perfect. Just because you might soup it up, it does not change why it is. You read the manufacturer's manual, read that there. You might add all these things to it. You still got to go off of what the manufacturer states is the tow allowance and all that. So,
and that's loaded.
people
So you
say,
have to count yourself and your kids and your pets and your food and every camp shirt and everything else you put in there raises that weight. So, and your hitch. And
I know
my cup. Can you see it, or is it backwards?
No, I see it, man. I love it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, but I just don't want them to get in trouble on the road, and I don't want to be behind them if they have an accident.
Me neither. I don't want to be in front of them if we're going downhill.
Yeah.
So I mean, I traded in my old truck and I got a new a truck that had like the extra, what I needed. I have a lot more truck than I do fifth wheel, but I'm going to keep it that way. I mean, would I love to have a big shiny 42 footer and all that? Yes, but my truck won't pull it.
Yeah.
And plus you can't get into the state parks or federal parks and all that. So, and to be honest, I'm not the best person to back up a bigger rig. So I'm good. I'm going to stay within something that I can get by with. But see, that's another thing. I recommend that people buy something they feel comfortable with. Don't get sold at the RV dealership. Do your homework, especially if you're starting out and hey, sometimes, well, pick your rig out, then go buy your truck or,
Yeah.
vice
Yeah.
versa. Because, because a lot of times you get that truck and then you do fall in love with a rig that you're like, oh my God, I just got to have it. And you're right. You got those salespeople that will sell you whatever you want and let you leave that lot, not within the guidelines, and
They
unfortunately in the
don't care.
industry that happens. Not everybody does that, but
Yeah.
we have a few, so yeah. So pretty
Well,
much
that's how
safety.
some dealerships get bad reputations. But, when
Right.
you're new going in and you aren't on a forum and you don't have an escapees membership or whatever that's going to give you information, you don't
Mm-hmm.
know. And so
You
here
don't
they are
know.
starting out and they don't have a clue and all they know is what they're being told. So
Right.
anyway, just beware, people. Not all RV sales people are looking out for you. Now, some of them are. Like the gentleman I was talking to today, he was really adamant about making sure that people got in the right vehicle for what their capabilities were. So
Yeah.
that was
Well, it's
nice and refreshing.
just like not all RV technicians are certified or insured. So, that's something that we, as our company, our standards are we set the bar up for ourselves is we are licensed and insured. We've gone to school, and am I a know-it-all? By no means. I mean, I learn every day. But you know what? If I mess up, I'm going to own it. But I'm also insured if I made something major. So, am I perfect? Never.
Right.
But so make sure no matter what you're doing in this here, make sure you deal with reputable people and stuff like that. So yeah, it's the only advice I can really give to you is like just be
Right.
safe.
Yeah. So last time, the video that got garbled, we talked about putting together a toolkit, and we're going to link the list for the toolkit here. Do you want to discuss any of that, or just highlight a few basic tools that people should have? We have a
Yeah,
long
I can
list,
go.
so
I got a long list. I mean, it's if
you
you
don't
better
have to
get
go
a
over
bigger
every
truck.
one, but just like maybe 5 essential things that you have to have.
Well, I call it my go bag. It's multimeter. Number one, because the brains of your RV is that 12-volt system. If you don't know how to use it, we're also going to have links for that. That'll be another episode. A multimeter, a 13-in-1 screwdriver, because there's not all. I don't know if anybody's worked on their RV. There's a array of different tips and stuff like that in here. Some are square, hex, Phillips head.
Oh,
Um,
I had the Road Trek is made in Canada. So not only were they metric, there are some screw star things I've never seen before. I had to buy a whole new kit just to work on that rig.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So also, like I said, screwdrivers. Maybe you make sure you have yourself some pliers or needle nose. Okay, because fuses, keep fuses with you. A multiple. I think the biggest fuse here is like 20 amp or something. So, and remember when you're doing fuses, if you have a 15 amp that blows and you don't have any 15 amps, do not replace that with a 20 amp. Okay, because it's not going to work the way it could. That's also a fire hazard. Okay. Uh,
But
see,
if you put another 15 amp in and it blows, then call you, right?
Call me. You got some kind of issue. Yes, call me or if you're good with the multimeter, find your way back to it. So, a tire pressure gauge. People don't that should be a must. That should be with you and get one that's big enough for your RV tires and your tow vehicle if you're towing or your class A. Because one of those small ones, they don't go up to like 85 to 100 pounds. So you want to make sure you got one that's big enough for your vehicle.
And on dual
and
wheels, we got the extenders so that we didn't have to go to the second wheel. You have these extenders that come out and you can check your tire pressure with those, and it really makes it easier to do. Yeah.
And let's see, what else would I say? I already talked about the surge protector, regulators. To me, that's part of tools. Okay. Those are necessities. Safety equipment, make sure you have, if you have a breakdown on the side of the road, get you some of those. I'm not going to say flares because those will cause fires, but make sure you get you some battery operated flashers or something like that. Emergency kits where it flashes and stuff like that. Because you can see those from a lot further away. And, you don't have to go and buy $100 tools because mentioning Harbor Freight, they have almost everything you need. I'm not that but they have a good return. So, just starting out, if you're on a budget, hey, get what you can afford. And then another one is like maybe a little 12-volt or 20-volt drill and attachments. So, most of those things. And those are good things to get you started, but that, your multimeter, like I said, that's one thing, because if you're not getting a charge, you want to check your batteries, and you don't have to go buy $100 multimeter. You can get one online for like $20. You don't have to spend a lot of money just to have the necessity.
Where are the places that you would use a multimeter?
Well, the multimeter.
Would you use it at the post ever to check?
You can use it at the post. Yes, you can. You can use it at the post. Your refrigerator. I mean, if you get up on your roof and check your capacitors for your air conditioner, I mean, that's to me, that's our number one tool. That multimeter goes out with me every job. Because like I said, right now, a lot of our issues have been from the power, your converters, those are getting blown out and those kind of things. So
I had a little thing. Now you tell me if this is useful or not. It was like a plug-in and it had 3 lights on it, and different lights meant your power was within range and you were having a problem or whatever, that I would plug in every time I went to a new spot. I'm not sure if it was useful, but it worked. I mean, I could tell if there was, if there was a problem before I got everything plugged in. But
you check it at your outlets and stuff like that. Yeah, I have one of those too. Yeah, that's just a little GF light. That's the light. You can get those also in a little kit. Sometimes when you buy your multimeter, they'll also have those included.
Oh, okay.
Some of them.
Good to know.
Yeah, and I can take some pictures and send them to you too. We can this week. So, yeah.
Cool.
But those would be my go-to stuff. And then, like I said, you can get some cleaning tools, maintenance stuff. Just basic little hand tools, get you going. If you have a little water leak, make sure you have a little crescent wrench or something. Those kind of things. So, and I made a stupid error the other day. I will say I usually wear my Oura ring because I had a stroke a year ago, so I like to keep an eye on my stressors and all that. And I was disconnecting a battery, and that ring is metal, and I did not have I zapped myself. It melted to my finger, and what I did know is I grabbed my wrong crescent wrench, or my wrong wrench. It didn't have the rubber handle on it, and I hit a inverter because it had a solar thing. So, telling you guys, even like I said, I make mistakes sometimes too. But man, that zapped my ring and it melted my ring into my finger. And it's like, you know what? Not making that mistake again. So
Oh,
make sure if you're messing with electricity, don't have any metal on, and your handles. I recommend, like if you do go to Harbor Freight, they got a set that had the rubber handles on it, or Home Depot or that. It's just a little bit safer that way. So, and I'm not embarrassed to say that, hey, I messed up, because I don't want somebody to make the same mistake as me, because my ring was $400, and it's like, I got lucky, it didn't totally zap it, but it messed it up a lot. So,
oh gosh.
and I got lucky. I didn't damage the rig, and I'm lucky it wasn't 120, it was just 12 volt. So that much.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what we're here for. We're just trying to help. So if any of you have questions that you'd like Lori to answer, please put them in the comments and we'll try to get to them next time. We're going to have a live.
Yes, they are.
We are going to have a live, maybe one more of these, and then the next one after that will be live. So get your questions ready and come in to, you can talk right to Lori and ask her your questions and get her answers, and all your problems will be solved. Or at least.
Boy, if I was that good, I'd be rich.
Like the Zoltar the magician, Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, yeah.
You.
Well, we'll let Lori give you some advice and answer your questions and things like that. So that won't be this next time, but it'll be the time after that. So make sure you click the like button and join us and subscribe so you'll get notified of the next one or the next video when it's up. And when we do a live, we will notify you with a post in the community page, and that'll come up just like a regular YouTube channel thing. It'll just be a post that says we're going to have a live in 3 days at this time, and get your questions and join us then. So be looking for that. I'm excited to do it. Lori's a little nervous, I think. But I think that you're getting much more easier, not so nervous to do this.
I'm working on it.
We so enjoy your information because it's so helpful. And
thank you.
Yeah, it's great. And I've been sending, I don't know if you're getting them or if people are going, but people ask me questions online and I just send them to you. So I don't know whether they're contacting you or not, but I have.
Well, they can feel free to email me and I'd be more than happy to
email right down here, her Lori at servicemonkeys@gmail.com, and the phone number and the website. So feel free to call her. Yeah, it was somebody that was not in your area. I think the last one I sent, and wanted to know where there was a good RV tech. And I was like, well, I'm sure that Lori could refer you to somebody because you said you have a list of
yep.
Yeah, reputable techs that can help. So
yes, we do.
Last one. So anything else that you want to tell us about today, or we're done?
No, I'm done. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And this was a lot more relaxing. I enjoyed the chat, so it's good.
I do too. I love it. And to everybody, thank you for joining us. And be sure to like, subscribe, and share this to other RVers who might find this information valuable. Check out the other videos that we've got going for various different things. We're trying to answer your questions in any way we can. So it's not just tech. We have questions about health. We have a section on finance. We have a section on running a business out of your RV. And so we're trying to hit all the all the things that you might need if you're going to be out RVing, particularly if you think that you might be going full-time or you're part-time. traveling a lot, not just going to the local campground. We've got a lot of information for that. So thank you, Lori. So appreciate
Thank
this.
you, Denny.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.